Hafid, and welcome back to Healthy Living. Tonight we're talking about the upcoming 4th annual Guam International Marathon, which takes place April 10th. Registration is now open for the 5K, 10K, half marathon, and marathon, and this year promises to have a great lineup of events, including the Expo, which takes place April 8th and 9th at the Pacific Islands Club, as well as the starting line, which features music and dancing, and the finish line beach party, which leads you straight down to Itau Beach. Well, for all those getting ready to kick off their training, I'm here with renowned runner Manny Hechanova. He's the papa bear of all the runners here on island. Everyone goes to him for advice, so he's going to help us kick off your training for this year. So Manny, what advice do you have for everyone kicking off their running?
Off day, Issa. Thank you so much. I can tell you, the Guam running community, if you wake up on any given weekend on a Saturday or Sunday, you'll see a ton of people out there just training for the Guam International Marathon. And it's wonderful to see such participation and anticipation for such a great event.
All right, so number one, getting down to running tips. You know, a lot of people experience trying to run, I think, a little too fast, kick off their miles too much, so it can lead to some issues, including cramping. How can people deal with that?
Wow, thank you. You know, this is a wonderful opportunity for the GIM participants to up their game. Typically, a lot of people just say, oh, I'm just going to run a 5K. This is their opportunity to say, wow, I'm going to double it to a 10, or really try to push themselves to a half or a full marathon. And when they get into those longer runs, the first thing we ask people to do is check with their doctor. Make sure that they are in a good physical shape to attempt the training required for these runs. These are runs that will take you at least well over 2 hours, just even for the half marathon. For the full marathon, you know, runners can be out there for at least 4 to 5 hours and even longer. So to train themselves for something like such an event, they really need to pay attention to their training schedule. So a lot of things people ask me for is, oh, I get cramps during my run. How do I prevent it? Well, you have to look at what causes the cramps. One of the first ones is plain old fatigue. That's muscle fatigue, and that's caused by undertraining. If you didn't train enough to go for those distances for that long of a time, your muscles will get tired fast. And so we encourage people, if you didn't train as well as you would like to, build in some walk breaks into that long run. It's no shame in walking. You're going to finish. It might take you a little bit longer, but you're going to save yourself the pain later on. The other one that causes cramps is dehydration. A lot of people don't realize you still have to drink. You're out there for several hours for either the half or the full, and they have wonderful stations along the way for the Guam International Marathon. And so there's a lot of support. You'll see people giving out water and some energy drinks and even some food. So don't be shy. Take part of all those water stations. Make sure you get full use of them and keep yourself hydrated throughout the day. We're always hoping for good weather that time of the month, back in April, and so we're trying to make sure that people are prepared. Prepare for the worst. If we have good cloud cover, good rain, good wind, it'll be a wonderful day for everybody.
Sounds good. I'm really excited. I know you're probably way more ahead of me in your training. You're a full marathon runner.
This will be my 14th by the time I get to that one.
Okay, wow, that's a lot of full marathons. So, you know, for people trying to build up maybe first-time half marathon runners or first-time marathon runners, what can they expect from a proper training schedule?
You know, there's the training schedules. You can go online. You can find a lot of training schedules that tailor to the time that you have. The hardest part for a lot of people is that commitment. You have to commit a certain number of days per week to run. And most training plans will go anywhere from 3 to 4 days a week, which is average, but you have to put in the mileage. And there'll be different types of training. You'll be a speed day, there'll be a tempo run, there'll be a long run, but the most important one is that 1 day a week, that really long run. So anywhere from 10 to 12 miles and above for the half marathon, and the full marathon, you're hitting anywhere from 18 to 20 miles in a single run on a single day.
Okay, so you're slowly, gradually working your way up to those long
Yes.
runs.
Following a training plan. You have to follow a training plan. If you just wake up and say, I'm just going to go run, it's just training without a purpose. You need to follow a training plan and build up those miles so your body gets used to it.
All right, well, just working off experience, you know, my first half marathon, I had some issues, you know, with kind of getting injuries, having difficulties with the long runs, and I think what my problem was is I didn't wear the proper shoes. So can you tell us about how that might be important for distance running?
Sure. You know, you want shoes that are comfortably fit. You don't want them to be too tight. Your toes have to wiggle. You got to give yourself some breathing room, because as you run over that time, your feet tend to swell, and they get to be uncomfortable if they're in a very tight shoe. And then some shoes are made for distance running. So you need to look at the manufacturer and the model and make sure you find a shoe that matches your stride, your pronation, and how many miles you intend to put in.
So you can find that advice probably from your local, shoe store where they sell athletes' shoes and shoes for distance runners. Also, I know there's a proper way you're supposed to run. Some people might put their feet too flat on the ground, or be leaning over.
Yes.
You have any advice for people?
Form is important. Form is really important, particularly when you're out there for so long. People tend to collapse themselves. They start to fall down at the hip and just get so tired, and then their form starts to collapse. When your form starts to collapse, you're not breathing properly, you're not landing properly. So cross training is really important, particularly for runners. We need to build a stronger core. You need to do those ab exercises, build the shoulder muscles, build your arm muscles. It's the whole body that you need to build so you can stand further up, get a little bit stronger in the core, so that when you run on the front part of your foot, you're not so worried about falling over.
Okay, that's great advice. I actually found that out the hard way because I was kind of hunching over a little bit. I was getting back problems. So that's great advice. Something else that I've heard from other runners in the community who know you is sometimes you can help them with just even the proper way to tie your shoe can make a big difference. Sure.
That's one of the best deterrents, when you're running, you're going so great, and all of a sudden you feel, oh, my shoelace is untied. And everything, it's just a perfect run, and everything's going well, and you have to stop. And you have to stop to tie your shoe. And so there are different ways that we tied our shoes when we were younger. We used to double knot them just to be sure. But there are really good ways to tie your shoe. And if you go online and you just search for how to tie a running shoe, there are really good examples, a lot of YouTube videos that show you how to tie a running shoe. And it's contrary to a lot of the ways that when we grew up, we're like, oh, that's not how I tied it. So you have to relearn how to tie your shoe, and it makes such a big difference. There's one called an ankle lock. So if you search for that online, you'll see a nice thing for how to tie your shoes for an ankle lock, and wraps that shoe around your ankle, gives you better support.
All right, well, thanks so much, Manny. I hope, I'm sure I'll see you out. He runs every Sunday, so I'm sure I'll see you out there before the race. Any final comments for the community?
Find a group. Commitment is the biggest thing for running long distances, and you want to try to find a group that you can run with. So there are tons of groups in the running community. You can go out, find yourself a group, and commit yourself to training with that group, because you'll be faster to reach your goal.
All right, well, thank you so much, Manny. Stay tuned. Up next, we have Chris Barnett in studio from I-94, who gives you some motivation for your training.
Thank you, Isa. Now, let's talk about this Guam International Marathon training playlist. Now, training, especially for a big event like the GIM, is hard, so we need that motivation. And to me, music is one of the best motivators. And that's why we have the GIM training playlist. Now, it's 5 a.m. and 6 p.m. every weekday. And it's basically a mashup of motivational, upbeat, get you going music so you can get in GIM mode. Yeah! That's right. I mean, you're going to have everything from classic rock like Survivor, Eye of the Tiger, to, things like EDM and Pitbull and Katy Perry and, all kinds of stuff. Hey, if it's upbeat, if it's going to get you going, if it's going to help you conquer those goals and get you ready, GIM ready, you'll hear it on the GIM training playlist, only on Guam's favorite. Remember, we're streaming live on the KUAM News app and at KUAM.com, 5 in the morning, 6 in the evening, weekdays. And every week we have a different playlist, and you can check out our playlist at KUAM.com. My name is Chris, and I'm in GIM training mode.
Your community calendar is brought to you by Taco Bell. Whether it's your first meal or your fourth meal, we've got you covered. Taco Bell, live Más.